You're in for a treat. Phil Schneider has 17 years experience working in the government black projects. He carried a level 3 security clearance. He's a former government geologist and engineer in the black projects, underground bases at areas 51, S4, and Los Alamos. He's going to expand your mind here this morning. Please welcome Mr. Phil Schneider.
I'm Phil Schneider. I spent 17 years in black budget programs, government geologist, as engineer, structural engineer with aerospace applications. The unbelievable part, I was involved in building another base inside of Dulce, New Mexico, which is Los Alamos Laboratory. It's a biological laboratory. On the southwest part of the Archuleta Mesa, we built an underground facility, a better part of 3 cubic miles hollowed out underground. Then to the southwest of that, we were in the process of the early stages of building. We drilled 4 large tunnel-like holes. Some of them ran 2.5 miles under the surface. Number of the original wells or drilling machines that were used were at the rate of 2 miles a day. It was fairly rapid. The equipment kept coming up broken, so we wanted to go down. We wanted to send somebody down there, a human observer, or human observers in this case, to find out what was going on. Well, to our total surprise, first of all, the government knew all about it. They didn't tell anybody. When I saw Green Beret and Black Beret people encamped inside of our geologist camp, I knew something was up. And all this soot came up, and well, that's when all the hell broke loose, really. All it started. Anyway, after we drilled all 4 holes, it took about 2 days to drill all 4 of them. And when you build an underground base, you drill 4 basic holes, and then you build called stopes or cross-member holes across, and then you use blasting equipment, special blasting equipment by the analyzation of the rock formation, and you literally blast out or tunnel out or deflagrate or melt rock out to build the large rooms that are required for this underground base. Well, in this process, I was lowered down the basket of one of these holes, and about from me to this elderly woman here in the front was sitting a 7-foot-tall alien gray. The stench was worse than the worst garbage can you can imagine. The person the entity was absolutely horrible. I didn't waste any time. I reached for my pistol. At that time, as an engineer, I didn't have time to carry all the folderol of one of these big submachine guns that all the sea spray and the yellow fruit and all the outer perimeter and inner perimeter security people carried. I carried a little Walther PPK pistol with a 9-shot clip. This was in late August of 1979. Now, you got a regular suit of clothes, you got a regular clothes on, plus you're in almost like a spacesuit environment, and you're reaching for a gun. It's not the easiest thing to do, and then to pop a clip in it and start shooting. And I killed 2 of them. Yes, they're mortal, and they do die. However, in the process, one of them did this. All I remember is that he just kind of waved his hand in front of his chest, and the next thing I know, this blue beam hit me and just literally opened me up like a fish, and burnt my fingers right off of me. And it was some form of electrical force, because the kind of like being hit by a lightning bolt burned all my toenails off of me. Completely crispy crittered my left foot, burnt the shoe right off of me. All I remember is the smoking remains, and I'm still conscious, but in and out of, I didn't remember much. And there was a Green Beret that was right behind me that risked his life. In fact, he died. But he risked his life. He shoved me back in the basket and hit the button and took me up. And I wouldn't be alive talking to you today if it wasn't for him. I'm forever indebted. He lost his life. 66 Secret Service agents, Green Berets, Black Berets, crack troops lost their lives because the government, our United States government, lied, did not tell us anything about the alien threat.
We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard.
When President Kennedy made this speech in 1961, little did he know we were already there. At that time, there was already a lunar base on the moon consisting of a joint alien, American, and Soviet Union base of 36,000 people, all of which were Aryan by birth. This massive facility located under the Jules Verne crater was operated by a group within the NSA known as Blue Moon. Then on May 22, 1962, a secret space probe landed on Mars which confirmed life could be supported. Soon after, a colony of over 500,000 occupants was constructed below the Martian surface. But how this all began takes us back to 1917 when members of the German Thule secret society channeled messages from extraterrestrials in the Aldebaran system. They received instructions on how to build a device which would harness the power of the Vril, or the Black Sun. These secret teachings spawned the Black Sun Secret Society, the Vril Secret Society, the SS, and ultimately the Third Reich. These occultists understood how to harness the energy of the Black Sun. According to Sumerian occultism, the sun illuminates the exterior, but the Black Sun is an invisible beam of light which illuminates the soul of man, which is the divine light. They all understood the coming of the golden age of humanity was at hand, and the changeover from the age of Pisces to the age of Aquarius. When Adolf Hitler learned of these secret teachings, he realized the world would have to change to make way for the new age. His version of a Third Reich drawed on leaders from these secret societies with their emblem being the Black Sun. Together these occultists became obsessed with building a prototype flying saucer powered by the energy of the Black Sun. By the end of the Second World War, Germany was in possession of a secret weapon which resembled a UFO. Known as the Vril and Hanabu 2, these crafts could travel at Mach 12. When rumors of these technologies began leaking out of Germany, the Allied forces became worried. According to Vladimir Turisky, the Bulgarian-born engineer and physicist, these crafts would launch from a secret base in Antarctica and then would travel to a small lunar outpost on the moon. But even more incredible, he revealed that the Nazis landed on Mars in mid-January 1946 after 8 months of heavy flight with a basically volunteer suicide crew of Germans and Japanese and a giant 230-foot diameter dreadnought, again running on free energy, basically the Hans-Kohler converters of gravity energy into the electromagnetic energy of the flight. After the war, Alan Dulles, Wild Bill Donovan, and George H. Bush was busy locating these Nazi scientists to implant within the U.S. military-industrial complex. This was known as Project Paperclip in Odessa. Once firmly implanted, they continued their secret experiments under the watchful eye of the American military. In 1947, with the crash of Roswell, New Mexico, President Truman created a secret study group to investigate the alien presence. This eventually became known as Majority 12, not Majestic 12, as the Hope documents analyzed by Stanton Friedman suggest. In 1954, President Dwight Eisenhower consulted with his friend Nelson Rockefeller about how to deal with the alien issue. Rockefeller suggested he set up a think tank to investigate the issue. Bypassing Congress, President Dwight Eisenhower issued the secret Executive Memorandum NSC 5401/1, which contents remain classified under the National Security Act. These think tanks brought together the most brilliant minds. It was literally a who's who of scientists and elites representing members of the Executive Council of the Bilderberg Group and the Council of Foreign Relations. This decision was the worst mistake of Eisenhower's presidency, and on his farewell address he issued his final warning to the American public.
In the councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex. The potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power exists and will persist.
MJ-12 determined that humanity was not ready to accept the alien presence. They also realized that humanity would not be able to survive past the year 2000 at its current rate of destruction. They determined that provisions would have to be made to ensure humanity's survival if a catastrophic collapse of the world civilization would occur. This was known as Alternatives 1, 2, and 3. Alternative 1 would relieve global warming by detonating nuclear bombs in the stratosphere. Alternative 2 would build vast underground networks of cities and tunnels. Alternative 3 would colonize other worlds. MJ-12 ultimately decided to build underground shelters and pursue the colonization of other worlds. In 1954, under Project Sigma, the National Security Agency made first contact with the gray alien extraterrestrials. Soon after, the Greada Treaty was signed, which would allow the United States government to trade technology with the ETs and to backward engineer an underground bases. In exchange, the ETs would be allowed to abduct people in a limited manner. MJ-12 knew funding of such a large and expensive facilities would require enormous funding. To prevent any congressional oversight, MJ-12 determined a secret source of funding would be required. At first, money was channeled from the national budget. When this wasn't sufficient enough funding, MJ-12 recruited the young George H. Bush from Zapata Oil Company. Today, the CIA brings in over $2.5 trillion annually for the black budget.
The very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society, and we are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret societies, to secret oaths, and to secret proceedings. For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence, on infiltration instead of invasion, on subversion instead of elections, on intimidation instead of free choice. It is a system which has conscripted vast human and material resources into the building of a tightly knit, highly efficient machine that combines military, diplomatic, intelligence, economic, scientific, and political operations. Its preparations are concealed, not published. Its mistakes are buried, not headlined. Its dissenters are silenced, not praised. No expenditure is questioned, no secret is revealed. That is why the Athenian lawmaker Solon decreed it a crime for any citizen to shrink from controversy. I am asking your help in the tremendous task of informing and alerting the American people.